What's going on, y'all? It's me, Troy, and I'm back again with another video. Of course, thank you guys for clicking on the video. As always, thank you to everyone who has recently commented, liked, and subscribed. Thank you so much for helping me. That aside, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the books that I started off reading nonfiction November with. Now, I want to take a lighter approach. You know, I didn't want to get into any heavy biographies, heavy autobiographies, heavy historical books. I wasn't about to read no textbook with a whole bunch of lies in it and all those different things. Like, I don't got time for all that. But the point is that these are two books that I've always wanted to read. They've been on my reading TBR. I decided that now will be the perfect time to check them on off, to check them off. And really, essentially at this point, I'm kind of looking for something more inspirational right now, something inspirational, encouraging, and uplifting kind of reads. Because, you know, we all go through these things in our lives where we need a touch of wisdom or somebody else's wisdom. Because one of the things I know about life is that sometimes we are just not enough in ourselves, okay? Sometimes we need some outside help. But the point is that that's what I was looking for in this thing, in these books. Y'all keep up with me, okay? So the first book that I read is Higher is Waiting by Tyler Perry. I was going to say Higher is Learning. Y'all remember that movie Higher Learning? And Tyra Banks was killed at the end and spitting up all that tomato sauce. Yeah, y'all remember that movie. Even though that did touch me as a child. But Higher is Waiting is the book that I just finished. So I'm gonna put this down. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I know we live in this culture where sometimes we're just extra angry about a lot of things and extra critical of other people's livelihoods and lives. Personally, I ain't got time to be worried about nobody else's life because I need as much help as I can get in my own. That's what I'm, you know, girl, I ain't got time to be worried about what Whoopi Goldberg got going on. She got all that money. Bye. So with that out of the way, you know, although I do have some criticisms of Tyler Perry's movies and plays, not the deep kind, not the Matrix intrusive kind that some people like to get into. Mine basically boils down to some of the writing. I do find, and have always found, his story to be pretty inspirational, especially considering the fact that, you know, he was raised in New Orleans, going through an abusive situation with his family, particularly that of his father. He moved to Atlanta to pursue his dreams of putting on stage plays. That, of course, ended up having him homeless or displaced, but that homelessness, of course, in the future transferred into being a multi-billionaire, okay, with his own lot, a studio space out there in Atlanta somewhere. Tyler Perry, if you're watching this video, go ahead and call me brother. I don't want to be in no pictures, but I will help move the furniture around like an executive producer with my clipboard. So the book is not really a memoir per se. It's like a collection of individual personal essays that really has no continuity to them, but they're personal essays revolving around his life, from his upbringing to the beginnings of his career to his status, his financial status now, and to many other inside and outside relationships that he has built along the way. So one of the things that I like about this book is that within, you know, him sort of shooting in that background information, and then he relays that background information to a bit of, it's a bit cliche to me, but he uses some metaphors and analogies to expound his wisdom on the subject that he has faced personally. So the next book is a book that I've wanted to read ever since it came out. I just, you know, the child life is life, honey. Like, I get to the book when I get to it, when I get to it. But the point is that Dee put this book on her hashtag nonfiction November TBR. And of course, seeing that kind of nudged me to go ahead and check the book out. And this particular actress I thought she was so beautiful all the way back to when she was an actress on that TV show Sliders. I used to love Sliders. Yeah, it basically, it's Timby Locke, right? Can you see? And this is her memoir, from scratch, a memoir of love, Sicily, and finding home. All right, so what this book is about, Timby Locke, per her education, she ended up spending some time as an exchange student in Italy. That is where she met her Italian boyfriend, or Sicilian boyfriend, named Sato. I think it's Sato. And then this memoir, although not going in a chronological order, it does chronicle her relationship with him for both from their meeting, the exception of their meeting, as well as them adopting their daughter. But most importantly, it chronicles how he was diagnosed with a very rare type of cancer and how she subsequently became his caregiver in the face of having to coerce his family to reconnect with him, as they have put him aside because of his decision to marry this woman, on top of the fact that she's black. Okay, she's foreign and she's black and she's American. All right, they had a problem with that, so there was some years of indifference, of years of miscommunication between Timby and Sato's building of a family, and then of course his family back in Sicily. Ultimately, I did enjoy this book. I think it's hard to really try to criticize a memoir. I mean, you can probably talk about it from a technical standpoint, but if it's somebody's personal stories, like what can I, I'm like, to me personally, like, what can I really say about it? That's her story. We all have one. But I will say that what I got the most from this is I picked up this book not only because I love Timby, but for another reason. I just want to read something with a little sippings of love inside. But because I knew that also she lost her husband because of a rare type of cancer, this book was a book that was helping me with some personal grief as well. What she does is she jumped from both the meeting of Sato as well as jumping back to him being in hospice care. And she kind of plays around and jumps back and forth and around in time. I mean, you can pick it up eventually. It's not really that hard to follow. But what I'm trying to get to is that I think that the strongest, the most sturdiest and hardest chapter that was for me to read was the chapters in which her husband was in hospice care, and she went through the whole process of how she treated him until his untimely death. So that is one of the biggest things I got out of this book, and that's why I'm happy that I read it, because that's kind of, like I said, it was both a book that I was picking up for just like some study of love, as well as that of some personal grief that I was going through, well, that I am actually. But the other thing that I found so magnificent about this book is how her husband's death brought her closer to his family, particularly that of his mother, because like I said, his family did not exactly accept Timby. As a matter of fact, they completely skipped the wedding that took place in Italy, or the ceremony part anyway, but they completely skipped it. It was just so taboo for him to have reached out to a foreign lady, a foreign woman, a black woman, like I said, to even have the even glimmering thought of marrying. So, he dealt with a lot of rejection. So it was very nice to watch how Sato's mother eventually opened up her arms and as well as her heart to Timby, as well as their adopted daughter, to the point where she actually left her Sicilian house to Timby. I guess I should say this, the writing, she had it, especially in the earlier parts. In the later parts, I don't know, I think it was a bit too try hard for the prose. In the earlier parts, it was just really beautifully laid out. I know it's just my overall feeling of it. But I think that one of the things that's most important to mention about this book, being that this is her particular story and memoir, is that it is approachable, it is friendly, and it comes with a message of, like it said, for home, food, and acceptance. But anyway, there is so much more about this book that is worth talking about, but this is a wrap-up, so I'm not trying to get too deep in it, and that's just all I'm going to leave you with. Anyway, as always, if you read these books, please leave me a comment down below. Take care of yourself, love yourself, and eat lots of good food. Except beef. I cannot stand